Hi, it's Valerie. I wanted to make a video because I'm super excited. Last week was my last week to be a provider for medical insurance, and that was about a 9-month journey of resigning from insurance panels. And what that means for those of you who are not in the United States or have never been a provider for insurance companies, it means that you're not contracted to provide services on their behalf, and you no longer have to track them down to pay for the services that you've already provided. And you're not contracted to the rate that they are willing to pay you. I did that for 11 years. And I wanted to just say that it's very exciting to be at this point now. And I wanted to talk about it. So, one of the things that was most, besides getting off insurance panels, because you feel a little bit like a prostitute, I don't know how to say it, but I wanted to be on insurance panels so that I could provide counseling for anyone who found me and not have a barrier to someone being able to benefit from the work together that we would do. And I feel like I contributed to a lot of people's lives during those periods. And I'm working on other things now that is going to allow me to get more of my creativity out into the world. And part of that is my online course that I want to support the students in the course. So as you might recall, in 2019, I created and birthed an online course, and it's called Process Poetry: Using Language to Discover Your True Self. I was also at the same time in a PhD program. I was looking at the phenomenon of a neurotypical partner being in a long-term relationship with a neurodiverse man. And it was not only my experience, but then I was able to help women in my practice to understand the dynamics and to live in reality, to notice when there was a trait showing up that she was struggling with interpreting or handling or being available in her own self for her own truth. So I want to get that out into the world too, because I'm what I'm calling a neurotypical partner advocate. So recently I did a presentation on that with a local psychiatric hospital so that I could talk to my peers about it and how they can also notice when there are neurotypical partners or families or couples, neurotypical, neurodiverse, in their own practices, so that they wouldn't be blindsided or not check on that as a dynamic in place. So all of these things are coming together to launch a whole nother way of me being able to provide what I do in the world. So how does someone work with me in Beyond Beautiful Pathways? Well, that is as a student in my online course. It could be if you sign up for the online course, which is available beyondbeautiful.net/education, they would be able to join a private Facebook group, which is a way to access me as more of a guide with the course or the content that they're processing through with the online course. So I just came off of a video interview with a videographer in England that I met through some people I know all around the world, and he interviewed me, and he was so responsive and enthusiastic that I was like, oh, I'm just like, sometimes get caught up in the minutia of how to get this out to the world instead of just being my creative self. So what that brings me to is I want to connect more in the private Facebook group for students of my course, and maybe even read some of my own process poetry. I have a little caveat to that though. So like if you take the course and it's called Process Poetry, Using Language to Discover Your True Self, it's really about your embodiment of shock, stress, and trauma that has lived on your nervous system for all of your life from when it happened, or your parents' lives or your grandparents' lives. Like, epigenetic trauma is generational trauma. So you don't even know it's there. And so you go into this course, I'm gonna just take a class, it's all gonna be cognitive, and then it hits you and you cry. Or you feel weird in your body somewhere, like you got that pit in your stomach, or you feel like you wanna run, you wanna go out and run, or you get really sleepy, you wanna fall asleep, right? So some of those responses are trauma responses, which is a way that your body's trying to process what's going on for you. Now, your nervous system sometimes doesn't know it's not happening right now. And so you think that what's happening in front of you is actually what's causing your experience, but it's deeper than that. It's something that happened in your history that brings that somatic memory into your awareness or your conscious now. And you're like, I have to run, I have to hit something, I have to eat, or throw up, whatever it is that is like your body's reaction that's been there a long time. So in the Process Poetry course, I could teach on this stuff all day, but like in the Process Poetry course, I want you to know that there's, I want you to know that you might be dysregulated in your body brain, which is, so I say emotions are outside the space-time continuum, but really, and that's true, I don't want you to get caught in the course and get stuck where you can't make your way through it. Now, in the course, especially the first unit, it's setting you up to be successful in the course. So it's actually gonna give you lots of ideas for how to be there for yourself and to really break it down so you can process it, and a lot of resourcing and a lot of connection with safe people so you can process through what's happening. Hopefully it will spill out onto the page, just because that's what's happened for me and some of my clients. So the course is $250, and what I want you to know is my regular counseling rate, if you live in the state of Colorado, you want to have counseling with me one-on-one and I have space, it's $140 per clinical hour. So I start on the hour, go to 50 minutes, and I'll make sure you know what's happening during those times. But not everyone has an hour every week or every 2 weeks or something to spend. Maybe you don't want to schedule with a real life person. Maybe you want to go through the course on your own. Maybe you have other resources at your disposal. Maybe you're in a 12-step group. There's so many of them virtual now. So let's say that you already have a really strong support system. You just want a mechanism to kick you into the next level of your healing, which could be the online course. So 6 units, 13 materials. It goes through the process of how to set it up so you can support yourself. You can be really available for this processing that happens through journaling or writing or creative pen to paper. So what else do I want to say about that? So the online course. So part of going into not taking insurance is to give me more time to not have as many clients, so that I could work on supporting the students more in the course. And I still have my counseling practice. The counseling practice isn't going anywhere because it's part of my identity, and also the one-on-one is like the secret sauce. I'm not gonna lie. And there's a whole nother coaching business I'm working on creating, which includes the online course. I'm getting help setting up like how to access the feelings list, the online course, and packages and programs that I'm still creating. So, but I have this online course. I have students in the course. Oh yeah, my book. So I still have copies of my first edition of my own process poetry, and maybe I'll read some of those, get on more videos now that I have more time, and like give you a little bit of my history along with the poems. I can read them to you. And really, I find that creativity and emotional processing goes well together. You can set it up through cognitive behavioral means or rational emotive behavior theory or 12-step groups, where you can apply the 12 steps to anything. Other coaching or counseling, resources, great. Even bibliotherapy, where you read books, can be really great for learning and applying the learning if you know how to apply it. Now, I will tell you, one of my first counselors I got because I was reading so much. I was in a 12-step group, but I didn't quite know how to apply it in my life. So that's when I got counseling from someone specific to help me integrate all of my learning for my own history and personality. Like, who am I? My uniqueness of being, basically. So I'm excited, and I wanted to share that with you. What else? I think that's about it. If you have any questions for me, you can reach out on any of my social media channels. I've got a Facebook page. It's Beyond Beautiful Pathways. There's also an Instagram page, Beyond Beautiful Pathways. And my website is beyondbeautiful.net / the course is education. Now I do have home, offerings, contact, I think is what's on that website right now. So that's how you can get in touch with the course. You can read a testimonial from someone who thought she would just take a little class, and she was like, this is deeper than I thought. So it's not for the faint of heart. You have to have enough time and space and resources to give yourself a holding tank, sort of a holding place to do the course. It can bring up things that you're like emotionally or connectivity and your synapses in your brain or your nervous system is going to give you feedback. You might experience your life a little bit differently. And that's why the very first unit is about setting up the work. So I wanted to be really careful with you on that. So if you do decide to take the course, just know that it'll walk you through the whole process. And oh yeah, I'm on Twitter at BYONDBV. So it was what was available or what I was creating at the time. My Twitter is a lot about writers and publishers and some therapists type stuff. But it's kind of fun. I want to do some psychoeducation. I want to do connecting. I want to do sharing of thoughts, and that's what my social media channels mostly are. So I'm in the process of changing those over to Pathways. The clinical practice will be its own thing unto itself, and everything that's non-clinical is going to be on a new website eventually. So that's it. Oh my goodness, it's 14 minutes. So I hope you're excited. I hope there's more questions you have. Let me know if you have questions about anything that I've said, or you want me to make content that might be more geared toward you and what you're going through your process. So yeah. Oh, and my email, Valerie@beyondbeautiful.net. BeyondBeautiful.net. Valerie at. And Valerie is Valerie. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.